Hey, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. So before we dive in, I should warn you that we have a lot of fireworks in the background because it is Diwali and I live in India. So I will try my best to get rid of as much of it as I can in post. But yeah, as you can clearly hear, there's a lot of fireworks. Also, we have a slightly different setup because your girl now has a bigger desk. And hopefully, all of the shuffling will stay on the desk and none of it falls down. But we'll see. So, in today's video, I want to take a look at maybe some lessons that were missing. So this is especially an important reading for those of you guys who feel like you're going through the same cycle, repeating patterns over and over again, or you've simply gone through something scary or something not very fun. So sometimes when we go through these things, we tend to kind of forget that we're here to learn, we're here to grow as a soul. And sometimes that can be hard to remember when everything hurts so much. So in today's reading, I'm hoping that we can find some messages of comfort and some messages or some reminders of what the lessons are in this situation. So we've got 3 piles for you to pick from. Pile number 1 is the Hanged Man in reverse. Pile 2 is the 2 of Swords. And for pile 3, we have the Hermit. So go ahead and pick whichever pile you feel called to most. Timestamps, as always, are in the description below. If you enjoy this video, like and subscribe as usual. And I'll see you guys at your pile. Pile number 1. Hi, welcome to your reading. So let's have a look at your spreads. The question is, what is an important lesson that you are missing in this cycle or through whatever has just happened for you? So you picked the Hanged Man in reverse. And I should mention straight away that when I was shuffling your cards, they were very specific. Like they wanted to come out in a very specific order, in a very specific position. Like these 2 clarifier cards down here, they kind of came out together, but then one fell here and one fell there. And it felt like they had decided where they wanted to go. So maybe you had a slight urge to pick the Hermit card because this definitely feels a little bit like Virgo energy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like stumbling over my words because Virgo energy makes me a little nervous. I'm gonna be honest. So anyway, you picked the Hanged Man in reverse. So I feel like whatever situation you're going through, I think you think that this is not the complete picture. Like you are not seeing everything there is to see. Maybe you're convincing yourself that there is more to this than you think there is currently, and that maybe you need to wait and see what's gonna unfold. Because the Hanged Man upright talks about seeing things from a new perspective. It is the card of Aquarius. It's the card of forward thinking and, looking at possibilities and looking at things through a new lens. So to have it in reverse kind of feels like you don't need to. You don't need to look at things from a different perspective. Pile number 1. But let's see what's going on here. So the next card we have is the Knight of Swords. Now, I've pre-shuffled these, but I haven't taken a look at them yet. The Knight of Swords. Then we have the Fool. And finally, we have the Seven of Cups. Straight away, the message I'm getting is allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to open up to the possibilities that are in front of you right now. Pile number one. I feel like you've been so caught up in a feeling of, I need to make sure I'm not missing anything. I need to make sure that, maybe I'm not seeing the complete picture. Maybe there's more to this than meets the eye, but there's not. Pile number one. I feel like you have a fear of just taking a leap. I feel like you have a fear of just going for what you want and going out there and claiming it as yours. And clearly you can see that in your cards with the Knight of Swords, the Fool, and the Seven of Cups. You see how both of these cards are looking forward, whereas I feel like you are trapping yourself in this Hanged Man in reverse energy, where you feel like maybe I don't need to, maybe I can't move on from whatever has happened, because what if there's more? What if there's more? What if... See, I keep trying to mince words with you about number one. And it feels like someone or something has disappointed you quite severely. And because of this, it's so unbelievable to you that this person or situation could be this disappointing, that you're kind of forcing yourself into a position of, I don't trust what I'm seeing. I don't believe what I'm seeing. I don't think, what's right in front of me is the whole truth. Whereas the energy that you're moving into, that you should be moving into rather, is this Knight of Swords energy of just embracing the adventure, of embracing whatever comes next. Because clearly with the Fool and the Seven of Cups, there is some really pretty things ahead. I don't know why I felt the need to call it pretty things, but it almost feels like a new beginning, and there's this kind of magic. The Seven of Cups usually talks about illusions, and generally illusions are seen as a bad thing or a distraction from reality. But in this case, I feel like you've been missing that romance of life. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic situation, but it almost feels like your life has been so practical of late, so A to B, just cut straight through the nonsense. Whereas I feel like it's time for you to step into a phase of enjoying the romance of it all. So, pile one, let's go ahead and look at some clarifiers. This is very nice energy, actually, although it may not feel that way right now. We have the Hanged Man clarified by the Seven of Coins. Ain't that a kick in the head? Have you guys, what's the movie I'm thinking of? Anastasia, with the bat. And I think he says something like that, ain't that a kick in the head? Or something like that. Have you guys watched that movie? If not, you should, because that movie has a lot to do with dwelling in the past versus, moving into the future. And I feel like you guys might benefit from watching that movie. But the Seven of Coins talks about okay, so the Seven... Sorry, I just had a light bulb moment. The Seven of Coins talks about investing in something or in a situation or a venture, things like that. And so to have that be the clarifier for the Hanged Man in reverse, I feel like the reason you have this sense of maybe this will work out, maybe I need to give it time, or maybe there's more I'm not seeing, maybe what I'm seeing is not true. I feel like the reason you have this sense is because you've invested so much into this situation. And I feel like moving forward, you're just gonna have to tell yourself that, you know, it wasn't a waste of my time or anyone's time or energy. It was simply a story that I had to work through. And I've come out the other end much stronger and extremely ready for something better coming my way. I feel like you could really use the affirmation, universe, please show me how good it can get today. Because there is this, I keep hearing this romance that you want, not like a, you know, couple romance, but rather to see the magic in life again, to see the beauty and all the pretty things that we buy and invest in just simply because we like them, for no like practical reason, but only because they catch our fancy. And whatever this was that you invested in the past, you need to believe what you're seeing, not necessarily what you wish to see. Maybe that's the illusion as well. Maybe the Seven of Cups has like a dualistic meaning here. But maybe there's less to the situation than you think there is. Maybe it's just cut and dry and you're just in denial. And I know I felt like a sudden rush of like irritation for hearing that. Maybe people tell you this all the time about the situation, that hey, you're in denial. Don't like try not to be upset at the messenger, because the message is what is gonna set you free. Honestly, maybe it's time to come face to face with this, with the reality that you can take things at face value right now. You don't need to read too deep into it. The writing is literally like on the wall. So let's get a clarifier for the Knight of Swords. We have the world. Aww. Okay, can we focus? Thank you. Okay, the world. Yeah. Oh, pile one. Moving forward, you literally have the world waiting for you. Whatever this situation was, the reason it's not going to work out is because you've outgrown it. You are ready for something so much bigger. You are like ready right now. It's not like you need to do any growing into it. You are there. You're fully grown. The world is literally waiting to like welcome you with open arms. It's time to let go of this. It's okay. So the analogy I'm getting is missing the forest for the trees, where it feels like you've been living with blinders on, where it's like, this is all I can see for my future, this is all there is going forward, and then suddenly something goes wrong and it's like, who am I anymore? You know, what is my purpose? Who am I? What does it mean? What does any of this mean if I am not the person that I have been for this long? And I feel like your message here is pretty straightforward. It's, it's time to find out, I guess. It's time to find out who you are outside of this situation, because this is not who you are anymore. And when we encounter situations that we've outgrown, when we come back to them, it just doesn't seem to make any sense whatsoever. And that's purely because your energy doesn't match that situation anymore. If it did, the whole thing would make sense. The whole thing would work harmoniously, but it doesn't. So it's time, pile number one, to allow the world to like pull you back in. So to clarify the Fool, we have the Three of Coins in reverse. Interesting. Maybe it's time for like a solo venture. So if this reading you feel resonates with you, for like a career type thing, maybe it's time to start a new solo venture, rather than working with maybe like business partners that you don't get on with anymore. Things of that nature. I keep stumbling over my words, pile one. Don't know what that is about. But maybe there's this feeling of, I want to go out on my own and see what the world has to offer me. I'm tired of being bogged down. Maybe that's this investment where you feel like you've invested so much time and money into a venture, but it's come to, yeah, there's that bike. Did you guys hear that? There's that bike. That's my confirmation bike. I don't know who that is, but every time I'm doing a reading and I hit something on the head, I feel like that guy comes out. So, yeah, maybe there's something you've invested in terms of like business that didn't work out, and maybe you're being called to step into a solo venture, because there's definitely new horizons looking forward. And finally, to clarify the Seven of Cups, we have the Ace of Cups. What did I just say about romance? Oh, how one, there is new love coming your way. Be that in like a relationship, friendship sense, or in just a new love for life, a new zest for life in general. Because I feel like you've tied yourself into this hanged man situation. I'm not trying to like blame you for it. I'm just saying, once we understand that we've put ourselves in certain situations, we also start to understand that we can pull ourselves out of them. And that's the energy you're stepping into, pile number one, is of pulling yourself out of the situation that really wasn't serving you, that you've outgrown. I feel like that's the lesson here, is to allow change to work in your favor, to allow things to happen that may not be the most comfortable to begin with, but look where it could lead you. Look what it could bring you. If you've gone through a drastic change that involves a complete 180 of, the people that are around you all the time, or, your family unit or your friend group or whatever that is, it's hard. It is. I can't imagine anything harder than losing your stability or your comfort, because we are creatures of comfort. For the most part, humans are. But maybe this is your opportunity to try new things, to explore the world, to see what's out there for you, to really ask for what you want, not for what you think you should want. Oh, pile one, I'm so excited. Just for all the possibilities that are coming your way. This is going to be awesome, pile number one, I promise you. So, okay, let's go ahead and get you some specific answers. So I want you to think of one important question and, related to the situation, or just whatever you want to ask about. And we'll go ahead and pull a couple of oracle cards for you. So, pile number one's questions, please. What is the answer to pile number one's question? Thank you. cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. I feel like this actually goes really, really well with this reading, honestly, is this feeling of when you've hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. And I feel like this is so true for you. And you're definitely being called to allow life, to allow the world to surprise you and to give you all the things that you've been missing this whole time. One more card, please. Pile number one's answer. What is the answer to pile number one's question? Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? Have you been avoiding being your truest best self in order to make other people comfortable? Have you been avoiding expressing exactly how you feel because you feel like it might make other people uncomfortable or not happy? Is there this fear of rejection when it comes to being who you truly are? Pile number one. You're definitely being called to, maybe that's the big reason why you've been taken away from this old situation. Maybe it just doesn't resonate with who you are turning out to be. Maybe you're discovering new facets of your personality and it just does not work with the people you've surrounded yourself with in the past or the situations you've surrounded yourself with in the past. And maybe that's why you're being pulled away. Allow it, pile number one, because there is so much waiting for you. And if you could feel like the excitement that I'm feeling right now, you wouldn't even look back for a second. So, yeah, pile one. That is so exciting. That's your reading. I really hope you enjoyed it. And of course, thank you so much for sharing your energy with me today and letting me read for you. This was strangely optimistic. But whatever situation you're going through, pile one, I really hope it gets better. I'm definitely sending you all of my love. You can do this. You can choose what's best for you. It's okay to do that. And if anyone tells you it's not okay to choose what's best for you, that's because they're hoping you'll choose what's best for them. So, that's just how humans work. But I hope you enjoyed this reading and it brought you a little bit of comfort in this difficult time. And if you enjoyed this video and it resonated, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can stick around to the outro if you want to watch another reading on my channel. And I now have an Amazon wish list down in the description. So if you want to support the channel and help it grow, then that link is down below. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number two, welcome to your reading. So if you picked this Two of Swords card, then congratulations, you're in the right place. You are the lucky winner of a reading. Okay, so straight away I'm going to tell you, I like to look at the cards when I shuffle them and see how they act. Because a lot of the times it can be an indicator of the energy you're in. And with you guys, pile number two, I definitely feel like you're fast talkers. I feel like you might have some very strong air sign placements, not just because this is a swords card, but also because the card was simply flying right out. So you have a lot to say, pile number two, and I'm excited to hear it. So with the Two of Swords, it usually talks about having a choice to make, a decision to make. And in most Two of Swords imagery, it's because it's interesting because the character is usually blindfolded, so they have to make a blind choice. And ironically, to me, it usually feels like they are not blindfolded by choice. So in this deck specifically, the character has her eyes closed. And that to me feels like they are choosing to make a decision after looking inwards, or like by looking inwards. I'm so sorry, Paltu. It's my words just are refusing to come out right today. I don't know why, but I do apologize if I stumble upon my words today. But anyway, so in this deck, this to me feels like a voluntary decision to make an intuitive choice, as opposed to a situation where you're forced to look inside. I feel like you are definitely very introspective as a person, pile number 2, and that definitely reflects in the choices that you make. But maybe you're in the middle of making a choice right now, and this is a call to listen to your gut instinct, whatever that is. But let's have a look at the rest of your cards. Now, I haven't looked at these yet. We have the 9 of Coins, the Knight of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. All very happy cards, pile 2. Are you just generally a happy-go-lucky person, pile 2? Because I feel so much verve is a word I have never used. But I feel just so optimistic, pile 2. It feels like it's such a wonderful day out. I'm out in the park with my dog. There's butterflies and there's flowers, and we're just hanging around, soaking up the sun. Ooh. See, your cards like to go flying. That's definitely not my fault with the nails. But I feel so playful and energetic and vibrant in your energy, pal 2. And I'm so glad you're here, because it means I get to soak some of that energy in as well. So thank you for coming. But with the 9 of Coins, this definitely feels like a choice you have to make for yourself. Or, if you already know that, maybe this is telling you to try and choose what's best for you in the long term. Because with the 9 of Coins, it talks about reaping the rewards of your individual labor. It's a card of like independence, of solo ventures, and finding success as a soul trader, that kind of thing. But in this context, it almost feels like the choice you make should probably be the one that allows you to enjoy the rewards of your own labor, as opposed to self-sacrificing in order to please other people. The Knight of Cups usually talks about a romantic offer coming your way, We love the knights, and we love when they bring us cups of love. I'm just trying to figure out what it's doing here, what this guy's doing here. It almost feels like when you embrace this, a lot of love will start to come your way, because do you see how he's looking this way? Whereas this character is only looking at the watermelon. So it feels like once you start to embrace the idea that maybe you're allowed to enjoy the fruits of your labor, maybe that will draw in admirers. Because with the Ace of Wands, there's definitely a lot of passion here. But what's the lesson? Oh yeah, maybe the lesson is to just simply allow yourself to enjoy the results of all the hard work you've put in. Maybe you tend to be quite self-sabotaging or self-sacrificing. in the hopes that it will bring you love or bring you more love from the people around you. And maybe the lesson here is to let that notion go. Stop forcing yourself to believe that the only way to receive love is to overgive, and maybe give to yourself instead, and then everyone else will start to come your way. Part number 2. Because at the end of the day, what really attracts people is an inner glow. And that inner glow only really comes from a passion that you nurture, in my opinion, of course. But I do feel like there is nothing more attractive than a person who knows what they like and go after it unapologetically. There is nothing that feels more like a flame to draw in all the moths, because, oh my god, it is so attractive. I'm going to keep it PG. It is so attractive when someone is filled with this fire, this joy, you know, that classic French joie de vivre, you know. It's so exciting to watch someone. It kind of sets your own soul on fire. And the lesson here is to, instead of trying to light everyone else's fire, light your own. See what happens. You might as well. You know, you're not going to lose anything. If anything, you'll end up happy like this person is. But let's look at your clarifiers. So clarifying the 2 of Swords, we have the 8 of Cups, which is usually a card of walking away. Maybe the choice you should be making is to walk away from situations that don't balance you out. Because do you see how these cups are kind of not symmetrical? So it's not like there's a perfect pyramid of cups. It almost feels like this side has way more than this side does. And maybe this is an indicator of the kind of relationships you've been having, or the kinds of friendships, or, you know, whatever this context is. Maybe it's an indicator that the reason things don't seem to be working out very often is because there's no balance, because you're not getting what you give. And that is primarily because you're giving so much that no one can keep up. Part 2, you're giving more than people can reciprocate. Now, that's not a you problem. That's a them problem. But what is a you problem is you not giving that same energy to yourself. If you're gonna love hard, you better learn to love yourself just as hard first, because otherwise you're pouring from an empty cup. Eventually it's gonna burn out, and then you're just gonna be left feeling burnt out, you know. To clarify the 9 of Coins, we have the Queen of Cups. What was I just saying about pouring from an empty cup? The Queen of Cups has a hand covering her own cup. And that's because she understands the value of preserving some of that love for yourself. Not self-sacrificing, in the sense of not giving so much that you have none left for yourself. I feel like if any of you guys have children or are teachers who work with children, I feel like you understand that it is, for the most part, a thankless job as being a teacher or a parent. Because when you're around children, they don't understand the concept of reciprocity. And you always end up giving way more than you receive, which is, nature. That's how children work. But I feel like you have a very special, very important relationship with children for that specific analogy to come up. But the point is, you don't then also want your adult relationships to mirror that. Maybe there is a childhood wound here where you had to grow up too quickly and people please in order to just survive or feel like you will survive. It's surprisingly common. You would be shocked at how many people go through this growing up. But maybe that's the lesson here, is that you will constantly keep attracting, repeats of that same situation until you learn to put an end to it and turn your focus to yourself first before you give to anyone else. Clarifying the Knight of Cups, we have the Page of Swords in reverse. Yeah, I definitely feel like, okay, so I feel like the kind of people you tend to attract is this Page of Swords energy. It almost feels like you attract very immature energy, very mentally not very grown up energy. Whereas what you're seeking is this Knight of Cups energy of someone who is emotionally mature and available, not necessarily complacent, but still has that fire, that passion, but also understands that sometimes you need to give as much as you get. Whereas this page energy feels a lot more immature, like I said, like children. Children don't understand the concept of I need to return the love that's given to me. Whereas, as a grown-up, we kind of start to see that your garden won't grow until you water it, and it definitely feels like a strong message here to, if you want to stop attracting this energy and start to attract this one, how to? You need to change your ways. You need to start being kinder to yourself and start prioritizing yourself. Stop going out of your way for people who give you the bare minimum. Start allowing yourself to have expectations. I feel like that's the big lesson here. The bar does not have to be on the ground. You're allowed to raise it. And when you raise the bar, you start to attract people who will do better by you. Pile number 2. The final clarifier for the Ace of Wands is the Fool. This card came out for a different pile. I'm not going to say which one. But with the Fool, it's so interesting because the Fool is card number 0, which is a new beginning, and the Ace of Wands is the first card in the suit of Wands. So, what's interesting is we have a balance of all the 4 elements here. We have a lot of air, we have a lot of water, we have some fire, more air, we have some earth. I feel like you're definitely a balanced person. Or maybe you need to work towards being a balanced person in terms of learning to not give more than you receive. When people give you energy, you need to match it. And I think you know this, and I think you consciously choose, or subconsciously choose not to match people's energy in the hope that if you give enough, they might eventually reciprocate. That's sadly not how people work. And I am so sorry to be the one to break this to you, although I suspect you already know. But once you start giving yourself that passion, you'll start to see a whole new world. And you'll start to realize, hey, maybe it's okay to ask. Maybe it's okay to say no when I feel that something isn't going to work for me, instead of changing all of my plans just to satisfy one person. So that's your overall message, Pal 2. And let's go ahead and get a couple of oracle cards just to answer a question you may have. So go ahead and think about a question for me real quick, and let's see what the answer is. What's the answer to Pal number 2's question, please? Okay, that one. Called soul gifts and training. It's time to step up. Interesting. So maybe this is a case of... can we focus? Can we focus? Okay, sorry. I think it is out of focus. But maybe this is a sign to shift your focus from... maybe that's why we were out of focus. To shift your focus from the outside to inside. Maybe you've spent so much time looking at everyone else and trying to sort out what everyone else needs. And maybe you're being called to look inwards, look at what your gifts are, look at how you can step up and be there for yourself. And maybe that will open a whole new world for you. Part 2. So one more card just to answer this question, please, for pile number 2. What's the answer? Oh, there we go. No, keep going. All right. See what I mean? You have so much to say, pile 2. And these cards just want to whoa, thank you. Where are you being called to journey to? I don't know how to say this word, but where are you being called to journey to? Oh, called again. Maybe you'll get a fun, interesting phone call. Problem number 2. But yeah, I definitely feel like you are being advised to definitely step up for yourself. Part 2, and stand firm on what you will accept and what you won't. Or at the very least, start to consider what you will accept as the bare minimum, and then teach yourself to not take bare minimum. So that's your reading for today, Part 2. Thank you so much for being here, because your energy just feels so vibrant and alive and happy. You have so much to give, but I do hope you'll give some of that to yourself first. So that's your reading, Part 2. I really hope it resonated. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if it did. Stick around for the outro, where you can see another reading if you want to have a look, or you can just go to my channel. But that's everything I have for you. Thanks so much for letting me read for you. And I hope this reading brought you some comfort. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. So today we're going to take a look at what lesson it is that you're missing from your current situation or the cycles that keep repeating in your life. What is the lesson here? Why does it keep happening to you? Why has it happened to you? So if you picked the Hermit card, then you're in the right place, pile 3. So let's dive in. So when I was shuffling your cards, they kind of felt frantic but very specific, in the sense of they kind of wanted to fly out all at once, and then when I put them all back in, they'd all fly out in the exact numbers and positions that they wanted to be in. So maybe you're someone who finds comfort in chaos. Maybe you find order in chaos. Maybe that's your job, or that's your role in any situation, is to be the voice of, almost like the leader, to kind of tell people where to go and what to do when things get rough. I keep thinking disaster relief. Maybe that's like a field you work in or you're considering working in. But with the hermit, it almost feels like you're either being called to or you're being forced to spend some time alone, which is the literal interpretation of the word hermit. It feels like you're being called to step inside. Does that even make sense? I feel like step inside was a very specific message. But maybe you spend a lot of time outdoors and maybe you spend a lot of time around a lot of people and you've had no time to like look inside and be just by yourself. But let's see the rest of your cards. We have the Ace of Coins. Oh, almost put out your candle. Maybe you're dealing with burnout, Pile 3. We have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And we have Death. The end of a cycle. Oh, can we focus? Yeah, my camera's struggling to focus. Pile 3, are you struggling to focus? Are you like I definitely feel a burnout type energy. Maybe this has to do with work. And you know the phrase happy go lucky? I'm kind of hearing the opposite of like unhappy go unlucky, especially with this Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Maybe you are so tired and broken up and, just falling apart basically, that it almost feels like the whole world is against you. Maybe you feel like literal death, like maybe you feel awful. And the lesson is definitely to take rest, but this definitely feels like you're overworked. Maybe this is a new job that maybe you've just started and you're already burnt out, or maybe you started a new job in the middle of a burnout because the opportunity just came knocking. And then maybe you feel like it's way too early to be taking days off. It's way too early to be mentioning that you're struggling because, oh, interesting. The Hermit is number 9 and the Wheel of Fortune is number 10. And number 10 is in reverse. Maybe this is a sense of like you want to move forward, but you're not able to because you're just exhausted. I'll be surprised if the Four of Swords doesn't come up here, but we'll see. Yeah, I already feel so like mellowed and zoned out, which is interesting because the pile I recorded just before this one was very upbeat and, like vivacious. Whereas here I almost feel like I just want to go to bed. And I know that's not me because like I'm way too awake to fall asleep, but this definitely feels like the vibe right now, pile 3. Maybe you need to take some time off, even if it is scary. Maybe you're in constant cycles of burnout. Maybe that's the death that's kind of like prompting you to end those cycles of forcing yourself to work so hard that you kind of fall apart, really. Maybe it's time to reconsider your work habits. This definitely feels like it has to do with work, which is so interesting. So interesting, pile number 3. But let's go ahead and take a look at some clarifiers for you. So to clarify the Hermit, we have the Hierophant in reverse. Pile 3, maybe you're in education. Maybe you're in school and you feel like if you take a few days off, or if you take some time off to get your mind back in place, that you will kind of lose out. Because the Hierophant usually talks about institutions and things that have existed for so long, and dogma, things like that. And that to me makes me think of like university life. As someone who went to university for like a very hard degree, I can tell you now, the burnout, the more you ignore it, the worse it's going to get. And then it's going to leave you in a very, very difficult position. Trust me, it's better to take the time out now than to allow yourself to get to this stage or this stage. I feel, are you like a younger sibling, or do you wish you had an older sibling? Because I feel like a big sister right now. I feel like I'm like giving you big sister advice. But if you do have an older sibling, maybe call them, maybe speak to them. That will genuinely help. So to clarify the Ace of Coins, we have the High Priestess. Interesting. Maybe it's time to... Oh, and she's holding a book. Maybe it's time to stop... Maybe it's time to stop focusing quite so much on, the physical world, and start looking inwards and working with your intuition. Maybe that will give... Okay, so I don't know why I keep sharing like personal stories with you. This definitely feels like a sibling kind of energy. Like you're my little sibling now. I'm sorry. That's just how this relationship works now. I'm sorry. But so I'm someone who tends to do all of this. I tend to work too hard until I physically fall ill, and then I hate the fact that I'm so ill. And I can't do anything about it. And then it's like all of life is falling apart, and I'm forced to stay in bed, and I can't do anything, and I hate it. And so when I come back, I work even harder, and it's an endless cycle that I'm working very hard, ironically, to try and break. But the thing that helps me the most when it comes to taking breaks is knowing that it's a productive break, because I'm one of those people, I tie myself worth to productivity. Again, something I'm definitely working on. But one way to make your break feel productive so that you don't feel guilty about taking it might be to line up some spiritual retreats or some books that will help you connect with your intuitive side. Little things like that will make you forget that you're missing work and allow you to really focus and ground in the present moment of relaxation. Now, I'm not saying that, inner work is easier than outer work, not at all, but it does feel like something that would give you a nice break from all of this. So to clarify the Wheel of Fortune, we have the Knight of Coins. Can we focus? No, we will not focus today for some reason. Yeah, maybe you guys are struggling with focus because of the burnout. The Knight of Coins. The Knight of Coins is definitely someone who goes slow and steady. They're here for a long time, not just for like a good time that then burns out. So I keep hearing Stars Don't Shine, They Burn. It's a song from Encanto, and I've been singing it all day for some reason, and I feel like this might be why. I feel like it's because I was anticipating your arrival, pile number 3. But there's a line in Encanto, in the final song, where they're rebuilding the house, and she sings Stars Don't Shine, They Burn. And the context is that everyone wants to be a star, but stars kind of burn out. They live for a short time and then they disappear. And you are not here to just be a shining star that will one day fade away. Pile number 3, you are here for a long time. It's a life's work, not a season. And the Knight of Coins definitely feels like that kind of energy where he takes his time, makes sure that whatever he's building, it may not be the fastest, but it will be the most long lasting. So that's definitely something to consider, pile 3. Are you here for the long haul? If you are, you need to be willing to invest the time away from work just as much as you invest into work. And our final clarifier for death is the 2 of Cups. Yeah, I feel like there's someone in your life, pile 2, that you're being called to lean on. Maybe this is a partner, or maybe, like I said earlier, maybe this is an older sibling. But whoever this is will be able to provide you with strength. Maybe if you're struggling to even consider taking a break, speak to them, because this person only really wants what's best for you. And they are definitely going to be the kind of person that takes the time to help you work through this, to help you, work through these fears of not, or like, it almost feels like FOMO, like the fear of missing out if you take a break. So definitely reach out to this person, whoever this is, pile number 3. I almost feel like you underestimate what they can do for you. And you'd be pleasantly surprised when you do reach out to them. Or maybe there's this like guilt of asking someone to do something for you, which again, I deal with that on a daily basis. But maybe you're being called to do it anyway. Feel that guilt and ask anyway. And you'd be surprised at how this person responds and how not only willing, but happy they are to go out of their way for you. That's so sweet, pile 3. You're so lucky to have someone like that in your life. And cherish them, because they are rare. So, we're reaching the end of this reading. I want you to go ahead and think of a question that you would like answered. It could be related to this situation, or it could not be. The entire pile just fell. Okay. This is what I was talking about. Your cards will fall out all at once, and then they'll come out in like the right place. So the answer to pile number 3's question, please. What's the answer to pile number 3's question? Oh. Okay, that one. Lost lands. See, this is the one that jumped out, and then I put it back in the pile, and it was like, no sis, we're coming out. Lost lands, soul memories and gifts. You've done this before. Maybe this is a change in career. Maybe the career that you've been working in just isn't sustainable, considering how frequently you're being burnt out. And maybe it's time to reconsider what your gifts are, what your soul remembers enjoying, be it in this life or like a previous life. But what is it that makes you happy, makes you not feel burnt out, doesn't feel like soul-crushing work? Thank you. See? Now it's coming out fine. Share your voice. Come out of the cave. Persecution, expression. That is so interesting, because the hermit is like cave imagery, isn't it? Is where the hermit goes into the cave to disappear and then reappears bright and happy. Come out of the cave. Yeah, it definitely feels like you're trapping yourself. Maybe okay, so interesting. So when we think of caves, we think of retreats, we think of comfort, we think of a place that we go to sleep or bears go to hibernate, things like that. But in this context, I'm almost feeling like you've built this situation around you like a cave in order to try and keep the light out because you're afraid of what you might see. Maybe there is a soul memory, a soul gift that you know of, that you're meant to be doing or meant to be engaging in. And you refuse to allow yourself to even consider the possibility. Maybe someone broke your spirit about this in the past. And maybe because of that, you kind of fear the amount of happiness it gives you to engage in whatever your gift is. And so you built this grueling work condition around you, Pal 3, to hopefully put a wall between you and what you love. It's classic self-sabotage. You're not the only person who's done this. The vast majority of people have done this, so don't think you're especially messed up or anything like that, Pal 3. But it is time to step away from that cave that you've created and to ask yourself, what is it that would actually make me joy? Make me joyful, bring me joy. What is it that would make me happy, that would make me want to slow down and build a solid foundation? That is where you find your joy. Pile number 3. So that's your reading. I really hope it resonated. And it's very, very interesting energy, Pile 3. Thank you for coming here and sharing it with me. I love feeling out your stories through these readings. It's really nice. But whatever it is that you're going through, I really hope you find comfort. Make sure to reach out to, sorry, my camera cut out, but make sure to reach out to whoever this person is. And I really hope this reading helped and it helped you find some comfort and support. If it resonated, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And stick around to the outro for another reading. Yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.